Good morning, guys. Happy Thursday. So, y'all know the phrase, if you will, give a man a fish, teach a man to fish. Well, that's about as coming true as possible right now with everything that's going on in Ukraine. And stuff is starting to come out that I don't want to say inevitable, but it sure seems like the leaders of the world want war. Okay. And again, like I've said many times, I don't see Putin's kids. I don't see Biden's kids. I don't see Macron's kids going to fight this war. It's your kids and my kids. Okay. But here's why. Yesterday, Zelensky came out and, remember, president of Ukraine, and demanded that NATO give Ukraine $5 billion a month. A month, okay? Give $5 billion a month. As his quote says, it's either urgent aid to Ukraine sufficient for victory or a delayed war between Russia and you, okay? Financial aid for Ukraine has no less significance than arms deliveries. We need some $5 billion every month. You know that, and this is a fundamental thing needed for defense and protection. Now, I want to give you this. $5 billion a month. It's a lot of freaking money. Okay? It's $60 billion a year. That is more than the total GDP of quite a few countries, but some that you might know. Azerbaijan, Jordan, Venezuela, Bahrain, Latvia, Bolivia, Estonia, Paraguay, and I could keep going down, Zimbabwe, Iceland, some tiny countries and everything like that. If not close enough to some bigger ones, Uruguay, Panama, Costa Rica, Slovenia, Serbia, Lithuania, Croatia. Okay. He's asking for us to give him the equivalent of or more of some country's entire GDP. Think about that one, all right? Where's that money come from? Who's the biggest financer of NATO? Oh, gee, that would be you and me, okay? How does the United States get money? Well, we do it one of two ways. We either raise taxes or borrow it from China, which inevitably costs us money either way, all right? So why is this important? Well, Zelensky basically let the cat out of the bag and said, give us the money so we can protect ourselves, or war is inevitable for you with Russia. Okay. Now, my question is, what has Ukraine been doing for the last 10 years or whatever since Crimea and to defend themselves? That sure doesn't seem like they've done a whole lot. They were showing people training with wooden cutouts of rifles. So, obviously they weren't spending a whole lot of their own money on their defense. They just want to spend your money. Who's that sound like? Spending other people's money. Now, this is where I said they let the cat out of the bag. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg told reporters on Wednesday that increases in military spending and rising numbers of troop deployments in Eastern Europe have been carried out since 2014 in anticipation with the conflict with Russia. In other words, NATO has been asking for this and planning this in 2014. That's 8 freaking years at this point. His quote, the reality is also that we've been preparing for this since 2014. That's the reason we've increased our presence in the eastern part of the alliance, why NATO allies have started to invest more in defense, and we have increased our readiness. Okay? Why? Why do we need, especially this time right now, where we have worldwide economic collapse going on? Okay? Let's spend more money. This goes right back into everything we've talked about for months, if not the better part of a year, okay, that politicians realize they failed us completely. And the only way to restore an economy, and I talked about this last week, is to go to war. Now, that's a failure as an idea because the world's a complete different place than it was in the 1940s, 1945, when the United States started becoming the superpower after World War II. We were pretty much the only manufacturing country left standing. I've talked about that before. That's not going to be the same way here. Again, we're not going to have a war with tanks and riflemen and everything. This would be a war with bombs and drones. I mean, look at what happened the other day. Missile hits a mall in Ukraine. 1,000 people inside the mall at the time. Oh, but Russia said that was a verified military target. A mall, okay? You're out shopping for school clothes for the kids for school that starts in 5 or 6 weeks. Boom, you're blown up. That's a military target. This is what you need to think about, guys, because if something like this happens, giving $5 billion a month, okay, that's a Band-Aid on a wound. Okay, that's just pissing money away. This sure seems like it's going to happen. And Zelensky was right, saying, give us the money, otherwise you're going to war. Okay, give us the money, and inevitably you're going to war, because all he's going to do is pocket it, run away with it, leave Ukraine like it is. We're out to $5 billion and every month, and war's still coming. Okay. I still tell you, watch out for Putin going into Poland. That's probably that'll be the tipping point. Okay, that'll be what starts the war. Uh, but how are you prepared to handle something like that? The complete economic turnover in the country, besides the fiasco that we're already in, but now you get into all the rationing because the food, things have to go somewhere else. Everything gets prohibitively expensive. Okay. I mean, worse than it is now. I mean, imagine gas prices doubling or tripling. Imagine food prices doubling or tripling. That's what a war would bring to us. All right. Victory gardens and everything would be the only way that you're going to eat. Then you're going to have the situation where if that goes on, you're going to have utter chaos in the United States, where we'd wind up having a civil war. Or a revolutionary war somehow, because you'd have two sides that don't agree with what's going on, which you already seem to have in every other aspect. Why not a war too? So, hey, if we don't agree with a war in Europe, let's just have one on our own soil. Then we still haven't even added China to the mix here yet. So the world is foobar, guys. Start corralling the horses, because this is the collection of soy boys that we have around the world as leaders, who don't have, none of whom have a backbone, and every one of them just have deep pockets they keep trying to fill with other people's money. That's what we're looking at right now, and you and I are the ones that are going to get screwed.